The good life, full of fun.
Hey guys, welcome to my kitchen. Welcome to Joe's Kitchen, guys. We're gonna make something real special today. We're going back to Old Italy again. Italians love, they love coffee and they love sweets, right? So there's this drink in Italy. It's called an affogato, which is, it basically means drowned or drowning. So what you would do is you would take vanilla ice cream, or in this case, gelato in Italy, right? So you're gonna take vanilla gelato and you would take a couple of shots of espresso and hit it over the top. So that's the authentic, simple way to make an affogato, okay? And it's awesome and it's delicious and it's great. So there's so many different spin-offs on it, and what I want to share with you today is something that we did here in our family. One of the challenges we have is that the kids a lot of times they don't like the espresso. It's a little bit too, it's a little too bitter, a little too dark for them. So I'm gonna create a dessert, which I did, that's real special, it's awesome, and it's a spin-off of that. So we're gonna make it an affogato dessert, if you will. So we're gonna use that terminology, and I made that up here in Cooking in Italian with Joe, all right? So it's gonna be really delicious. So what I wanna show you in this video are two things. One, we're gonna make homemade vanilla ice cream like you've never had before. It's so unbelievably delicious and silky and smooth with vanilla and my little hint of nutmeg. It's gonna be great. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna make essentially like a chocolate with coffee, espresso, and sugar syrup or dessert. And we're gonna drizzle the top, almost drown it, if you will, in the vanilla, and we're gonna hit it with a little whipped cream on the top. It's gonna be absolutely unbelievably delicious. So real exciting, a lot of fun. Let me go over the ingredients with you. And it's gonna show a lot of ingredients here, but just play along. It's really easy. Once you get everything together, get organized, it goes really slow, okay? So let me start up front with our vanilla ice cream, okay? So gelato, if you will, is like ice cream, but it just has less fat. And it's really great. I mean, in Italy, if you go and have the gelato made by the gelato masters, it's really, really good. But when you're making it at home, it's much more difficult to get that type of consistency, that creamy consistency. So when I'm here in America, I'll always make a vanilla ice cream, which to me is much more delicious, again, in that format, okay? So what I've got here is I've got 2.5 cups of heavy cream. So definitely not a low-fat dessert, but it's awesome. Trust me, it's worth the heart attack. I'm gonna just say it right out there, okay? Then I've got 1.5 cups of whole milk, right? I've got eight, that's right, eight yolks, egg yolks, okay? 1 cup of sugar. I have 1.5 teaspoons. Now what I did here is vanilla paste. So sometimes what you can do is you can get the vanilla bean. If you use the vanilla bean and scrape out the seeds out of it, you're usually gonna have to add a teaspoon of vanilla anyway. So I did vanilla paste. So what that is it's a bean that's been extracted, if you will, the seeds that have been extracted along with the vanilla and some sugar. So that works really well in this. So you're gonna get the organic, if you will, natural seed. I'm gonna use my little secret ingredient. It's not a secret anymore, I just told you. Oh, nutmeg, I love it. I love nutmeg. Now I use a breath of nutmeg. If you hate nutmeg and you don't want to use it, then don't add it to the recipe. A little bit of nutmeg goes a long way. So you only need a little bit of nutmeg in the vanilla ice cream. You won't even really taste it as a backdrop. It'll just be a hint. It enhances the flavor, just like salt. So we're going to put a pinch of salt. You won't even taste the salt, but again, the salt heightens the flavor. Okay, so that's going to be our vanilla ice cream. I'll show you how to make it. It's really easy. It's a lot of fun. Now we're gonna get into that syrup. I'm telling you, this stuff is like, it's so awesome. You just want to sit there with a spoon and eat it. But I had made some yesterday and I was tasting it quite a bit, and boy, I had too much of it because the espresso was making me bounce off the ceiling. So, but in this case, we're gonna make a good amount of it. So you can cut this in half depending on how much you're looking to serve. This would work with this amount of ice cream. Okay, so we're gonna start with 3 cups of sugar. Okay. And then we've got 2 teaspoons of vanilla, okay? Pinch of salt, okay? 1/2 ounce of bitter baking chocolate, okay? Good high quality chocolate. You want that bitter chocolate, and then you want 6 shots of espresso, and that's gonna give you just over a cup of coffee. And what I want to share with you is some people don't have espresso. Now espresso is similar to regular coffee. It's baked a little longer, so it gives it a little darker, bitter, darker roast. and it extracts a little bit more of the oil, so it's a little bit more oily, and it's ground a little finer. So some people don't have espresso, so a little trick you can do is you can just use regular coffee, make it a little bit more concentrated. For some of the purists out there, plug your ears for a minute, okay? But if you don't have that, you can use instant coffee. Just add 6 teaspoons, heaping teaspoons to a cup of hot water, and you know, it'll be close enough. Again, those people, you can unplug your ears right now. And when we talk about coffee, I just want to give a shout out to Jordan over at Atlas Coffee Club. They were kind enough to send me some coffee from their coffee club. And Atlas Coffee Club is a company that actually will send you, you can set up a subscription where you can get a one exotic type of coffee from somewhere else in the world every month. They'll ship it right to your house. So you can get a 1 pound bag, or you get a couple of pounds. So we've got a Colombian coffee that they sent me, which are so sweet, right? And then they sent me a Costa Rican coffee. Comes in a nice bag, pretty cool. So we're gonna be using their coffee, their espresso, today for our recipe. So again, thanks Jordan for the coffee, and hopefully enjoy the recipe as well as you guys. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you exactly how to make it. It's fun, it's easy. I know there's a lot of ingredients. Just relax, follow along, organize it, and you're gonna have an unbelievable dessert that you'll be able to make for your family from years to come. And we're gonna make the most delicious, silky smooth vanilla ice cream that you've ever had. I wanna show you how to make it, share a couple of tips with you. When you're in Italy, they make a gelato. Gelato's made more with milk, and it's got a lower fat content, which is great. You know, so when you're having gelato made by those masters in Italy and the high-priced machines and stuff, it comes out great and creamy and airy and light. And that's wonderful, but to try to reproduce that in your kitchen sometimes a little bit more difficult. So I always find making a vanilla ice cream version with a little higher fat content, man, I'll tell you, it's absolutely awesome. It's delicious. You're gonna love it. And I'm gonna share with you just a couple little secrets, a couple little tips that'll give you something that you wanna make regularly. I'll tell you, it's absolutely awesome. So we're gonna start off with 2.5 cups of heavy cream, okay? How do you like that right there? That's good for you. And then you're gonna do 1.5 cups of whole milk, okay? And just to up the cholesterol content a little bit more, we wanna use the yolks, 8 egg yolks, okay? Which will be great. Again, you wouldn't wanna eat this every day, but once a day should be totally fine for you. We're gonna do 1 cup of sugar, all right? And again, there's a way to cream the eggs and such, so I'll share that technique with you in a minute. We're gonna use 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Now what I did here is I used a vanilla paste. So what they do in vanilla paste is they extract the seeds out of the vanilla bean, and they'll add some vanilla, they add a little sugar, and put it in an alcohol base. It's absolutely great. So I'm cheating a little, I did that. You don't have to. You can grab a vanilla bean. Typically you'd grab 1 bean, extract the seeds, scrape it out, throw it in the saucepan, add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. That's another way to do it. I love doing it this way. It's great, and I love their paste. It's a real high quality, and it always comes out perfect every time. So that's why I'm doing that. We're gonna add a little bit of my secret ingredient. Not a secret anymore. Nutmeg. So nutmeg has a lot of flavor, so you don't need much. You're just gonna add a little bit. It's gonna give you a little backdrop. For some people that don't like nutmeg, or you know, they just for whatever reason don't want it in their ice cream, that's totally fine, then don't add it. But in a little bit, to why I always call it a breath, it's like just a hint of a pinch of nutmeg. It's gonna bring out just the beautiful flavor of the cream. You'll see in Italy, they always like to use nutmegs with desserts, if you will, or foods that are heavy and high in cream content or fat content, which is great. Then my last is a pinch of salt. So we're gonna use a pinch of salt. Again, you won't even taste the salt, but salt will enhance, add a little savory flavor, and it'll enhance the flavors of everything else. So vanilla ice cream is fun, it's easy, there's a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of technique to follow. So it's gonna be fun. Hopefully you'll learn a few things along the way. It'll take us a few minutes. We're gonna make some absolutely delicious vanilla ice cream, probably the best vanilla ice cream that you're ever gonna have, and something that we always used to do in my family. So it's exciting to share this recipe with you guys, all right? So give me a couple minutes, let me get a couple of bowls on the counter here, and we'll get started. Talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, it's vanilla ice cream time. All right, so real fun. What we want to do first with the egg yolks, if you guys have seen some of my videos before, we want to cream the eggs. So we're going to take my mixer bowl, okay? I'm going to put the egg yolks right in there. Now, what I did when I separated them, as you guys will notice, there's a white piece of protein often attached to the egg yolk. So I just, as I put each egg in there, I just use a spoon, I can't talk, I'm so excited, a spoon, and I get it out. If not, we're gonna strain it anyway, so don't even worry about it, but it's just something that I always do, just in the habit of that, okay? So I've got 8 egg yolks, that's tough to say, right? And I want to take some of my sugar, not all my sugar. So I'm going to take about half of the sugar, so about a half a cup. Doesn't have to be exact, okay? And what we're going to want to do, well, it's pretty close right there, actually, is we're going to want to cream the eggs. So I'm going to get this over to the blender and or to the mixer, and I'm going to blend this. And I want to use a whisk, and I want to cream it. What'll happen? It takes about 3 to 5 minutes, and you're going to see the yolks will get white and frothy. Oh, it's so delicious too if you taste it. But that's great. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat up, which I'm going to do for you in a moment here. But I want to heat up the milk and the sugar and the vanilla and the nutmeg and the salt. And I'm going to heat that up in here. Now the problem is when you have eggs, if you guys know this, you don't want to add a lot of heat to the egg all at once because it'll cook the egg. So you need to what they call temper it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix those egg yolks, get them all whipped up and creamy. Then I'm going to pull that off the mixer. I'm going to heat up this liquid, right? And I'm going to slowly, just a little bit at a time, add this hot milk mixture to the egg as I'm mixing it. And as I do that, what'll happen is it'll temper the egg, it'll bring it up to temperature, everything starts to kind of marry together and everything blends really well. Then I'm going to put it back in the pan. I'm going to cook it till about 180 degrees. It'll get like thick, almost like not quite like a thick custard, but it'll coat the back of the spoon. When I get to that point, I'm going to let it cool. We're going to throw it in the ice cream blend, mixer. It's going to be absolutely delicious. I am so excited. I'm telling you, this is going to be one of the best vanilla ice creams you ever had, guys. I'll tell you, it's absolutely delicious. All right, guys, I just want to show you this. This is about 3 to 5 minutes. And if you guys can get right in there, I'll get my camera person there. See how nice and white and frothy and creamy that is? So that's kind of that consistency you're looking for, okay? So I'm just going to set this aside. Then what I want to do is I want to take my milk, okay? So I've got my milk, which is 1.5 cups. I've got 2.5 cups of heavy cream. Oh, ho, ho. Joe likes cream. I will tell you, I'm not going to lie. You know, some people ask me, hey, how do you stay so trim and fit? Okay? One of the things I will tell you is, it's really one day a week that I'll eat kind of bad, you know. So I have one day a week where I'll pretty much eat what I want. So now I've got the rest of the sugar, and my camera person's laughing at me over there. I'm going to take a little pinch of salt, okay, and now I'm going to take my nutmeg, which is awesome, right? And then I'm going to take my vanilla, okay. So I'm going to mix it all in there. That's what I want to do. Perfect, okay. I'm going to go over to the stove. I'm going to start warming this up, and then we're going to bring it up to a nice warmth, like I said. And then once it gets nice and, you know, I don't want to say hot, but almost hot, then what we're going to do is we're going to temper those eggs, bring it back, and that's where we're going to bring it up. Technically, you want to go, it's about 180 degrees, but once you start to see it thickening where it covers the back of a spoon, and I'll show you exactly what that looks like, it's really easy. And it's, you know, 5 to 6 minutes, okay? All right, guys, here we are. So we're over the stove. I showed you how I put everything in the pan, and we're just going to keep stirring it. And again, we're not looking for bubbling steam milk at this point, okay? We want it just a little bit more than warm, and you can check it with your finger. Once you get it to that point, like I said, we're going to temper the eggs. I'll show you exactly how to do that. Then I'll bring everything back in the pan, and we're going to heat it up. At that point, we want to heat it up really thick, 180 degrees, or until it starts to cover the, you know, coat the back of the spoon. Again, I'll show you exactly what that looks like. And then we're going to put it in the ice cream mixer. So you're going to need an ice cream mixer if I didn't say that in the beginning, okay? All right, guys, so what I did is I heated this up. You're going to see a little steam coming off of there, but not a ton, right? And that's exactly where I want it. So I'm going to grab just a little ladle. I got my cute little whisk. I've got the egg batter that I made, okay? And as I'm stirring this up, I'm going to add just a little, like a small bit, like drizzle, not even all that, and just mix it in. And you don't even have to worry about a thing if you're doing it just like this, because it won't cook the egg, right? The heat's going to dissipate. And I don't need to do it all. I just need to do a little bit. And don't be in a rush. Just keep mixing it. Okay? And then I'm going to add a little bit more. Well, I tell you, the sugar and the nutmeg and the egg, oh my gosh. I don't know about you guys, but this is good stuff. Homemade ice cream, nothing better. You know, we used to make this when I was a kid with my dad, and believe it or not, we had one of the old ice cream makers where you'd actually put the cream inside, you'd put ice and rock salt around the outside, and you'd hand crank it. Yes, it's true. That's how old I am. All right, so we're gonna put a little bit more. We used to love doing that. We'd make it a couple times a year. Such great memories. I'll tell you, food just brings that in your life, doesn't it? You just get to set those traditions and share your heritage. And so I'm gonna put a little bit more of this in. I'm probably making a little bit of a mess, hopefully not too bad. And then now it's pretty much tempered, right? So now that it's tempered, okay, now what I'm gonna do is slowly, right? Now we're gonna switch it. Now I'm gonna take this ingredient, okay, and then just slowly mix it in. Just make sure that you keep whisking it, okay? And just drizzle it in nice and slow. The egg mixture is already warm on one side. This side's now getting warm. And this is what's gonna create like that custard. This is basically giving you almost like a custard and feel. Oh, that's good. And then you're gonna want one clean pan. So what we're gonna do is when we pull it off the stove at about 180 degrees, okay, and we pull it off the stove, then we're gonna wanna run it through a sieve. We're gonna wanna run it through a strainer just to pick up any parts of the protein from the egg, something that maybe didn't dissolve exactly the way we want it. All right, so now I'm gonna bring this back over the stove. We're gonna bring the camera over and we're gonna heat it right up to about $1.80 or till it covers the back of a spoon. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, we're all set. Now I used a little thermometer in there. I got it right up to $1.80, but I just wanna show you, if you can zoom in here, you're gonna see how it coats the back of that spoon? See how it's nice and thick? Right, and you can see little bits of vanilla on there. Oh, that's good, that's hot. So we got a nice thickening of it right where the temperature we want. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go right over to the other side. We're going to transfer it over to the ice bath, and we're going to take a pan with some ice and water. We just want to stop the cooking process, all right? So I'm going to try to do that real quick. Then we're going to put it in our mixer. We're going to crank that puppy up, and in about a half hour we're going to have some ice cream. I'll talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, here we go. All right, so I've got it in here. I know, again, all I want to do is stop that process of cooking. Just bring the temperature down, okay? Now what cooking does is it basically transforms the proteins in there, and it marries all your flavors. Oh, I gotta tell you the flavor of that. I'm gonna taste it. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm gonna go out there and just taste that right there. Oh my God, that is good. All right, so we're gonna bring this down to a cool temperature. It doesn't have to be cold, but I do like it to bring nice and cool. Now my trick on that is this. If you take this hot, and you throw it in an ice cream maker. Now I have the old Krups version where you take the canister and you freeze it. It's gonna warm up the canister too much, it's not gonna stay cold. So in this case, you're gonna wanna get this nice and cool in that type of ice cream maker. If you have a mechanical ice cream maker where it actually has a refrigerant in it, you can put it right in there, you don't need to worry about it because that machine is gonna give you an endless amount of cold temperature, okay? So just give you a heads up, if you have the canister that you gotta freeze, get this nice and cold first before you put it in there. All right, so I'm gonna let this cool for a few minutes, and I'll show you how we put it in the old Krups ice cream maker, and we're gonna make some homemade ice cream. Talk to you guys in a minute. All right, guys, here we go. So I've got my canister right here. I don't wanna handle it too much. I just pulled it out of that freezer, and I left this in the ice bath. I mean, this is cold. It's not frozen, but it's really cold. That's always gonna ensure that this thing can freeze it, and then you're gonna put your little scraper. What this does is it freezes the cream, if you will, on the outside, and it slowly scrapes off the frozen, and it creates this beautiful smooth custard, okay? Now I told you I need to strain it, so what I'm gonna do is just put that over the top, and then we're gonna pour it right through there. There you go. And we're just gonna pour that right in there. Perfect. And you know, we'll find out right now. Sometimes you'll get a few little bits of protein from the egg mixture. We want to see, so that's perfect. So again, there's a little bit of protein on there, and I just want to get all that out of there. Came right through the strainer. Perfect. Okay, and that's going to ensure that it's perfect. Let me put the top on. Beautiful. Let me bring this over. We're going to pop this right on, and then ready? Watch. That's it. Perfect. So this is frozen, and what it's doing is it's slowly turning it around. It's going to freeze. Like I said, the cream up along the side. It's going to take about a half hour, 45 minutes, and it's going to be awesome. So the hardest part is waiting for this thing to taste it. I have tasted it a little bit along the way. So I'm going to let this go. Tune back to you guys in a few minutes when we got ice cream, all right? Homemade ice cream, cooking Italian with Joe, forget about it style. Talk to you in a minute. All right, guys, you ready? It's vanilla ice cream time. Forget about it. Look at that. You know it's good when that just starts to blow out of the top, right? Right? Water expands when it freezes. Isn't that great? All right, so I'm going to shut this off. And I'm going to pull that off. Oh yeah. And I'm going to pull this off. Oh, look at that. Is that fantastic or is that fantastic? I'm just gonna I have to take a little taste of it first. I'm gonna tell you right now, guys. The vanilla ice cream that you make will never taste as good, store-bought or anything, but it'll never taste as good as right then. When you take that, put it in the freezer and all that, I'm just telling you, something changes. It never tastes as good as that right there. All right, you guys ready to make some cooking Italian with Joe? Coffee, espresso, chocolate, Italian style with the Alice Coffee Club? I'm excited about it. All right, so here we go. We got 3 cups of sugar. Now here's the trick. You want the chocolate to melt and mix with a water solution, all right? So the couple of tips here. 1, shave it so it's in small bits, okay? 2, you're gonna mix it in the sugar, okay? And then you're going to mix it right in there so it's very well incorporated, all right? So I'm gonna do that with a little bit of my salt as well. We don't wanna add any liquid yet, okay? Then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna essentially temper the sugar. I wanna start to warm the sugar and the chocolate. Once it starts to warm, I'm gonna slowly add the liquid. And what it does is it, not to get too crazy, but it hydrates the fiber within the chocolate, the fat within the chocolate, and then it essentially emulsifies everything together. If you take a big hunk of chocolate and you go to dissolve it, you'll get large clumps of molecules of the chocolate, and because of the what's called the surface tension and so forth, it just won't mix. I don't mean to make this a chemistry class, okay? So that's basically what we want to do. We got a nice mix, so I'm gonna meet you guys over the stove. I'll show you how to mix this. It literally takes a few minutes. It's gonna be absolutely delicious. All right, guys, I've got a pan, right? And I'm gonna block your view here for a minute, but give me a second. I'm gonna pop that in, okay? I've got a wooden spoon. You don't have to, you can use a metal one. And then I'm gonna just get it warm so that little bits of the chocolate are actually starting to melt. Again, the trick here is to try to get the chocolate as small as it can be. And if you do that, you're going to temper the heat of the sugar with the chocolate. Once you do that, it's really easy. It'll stay fully incorporated. It's not going to glom or float or anything like that. It's just a simple little way to do it. It's the way the masters do it. Certainly that's the way we do it here on Cooking Italian with Joe. So, all right. All right, so I want to just bring in. So the sugar looks, you know, I guess what I would call is dirty, right? You see how the chocolate's really well incorporated in there now? And the sugar's warm. It's not hot, but it's warm. So we're ready to go, all right? So what I'm gonna do immediately is I'm gonna add, now if you have the bare metal, it'll bubble. Not that it's a big deal, it's gonna bubble a little bit anyways. But you're just gonna start mixing it. Nice and slow, okay? And just slow, like you're making almost like you're making a pasta, and you're slowly bringing in that sugar on the outside. Isn't that awesome? Or like candy making, okay? And it'll grab a little bit on the bottom, it'll crystallize on the bottom, and don't worry about it. As you add a little bit more, you're fine. I'm gonna add my vanilla as I'm doing this, okay? And then I'm just gonna keep mixing it. And it's fun, and it smells awesome. Woo! You know we're having fun when it starts to make that noise. So now we know the sugar and the coffee and the chocolate, most importantly, everything's really well incorporated. You're not gonna have to worry about anything. I'll tell you, the smell in here with the chocolate and coffee right now, oh, that's good. So I'll tune back with you guys in a minute, right when it's done. Take about 5 to 6 minutes. All right, guys, my last ingredient, and I forgot to put that in the beginning. I'm sorry. So, again, we're a small budget production house here, but we got a half a stick of butter. Now you're gonna put that right in, right when it's about ready to make a syrup. And what the butter does is it softens and smooths out the flavor, makes it silky, and it almost gives it like a caramel flavor. It's not quite a caramel, but it gives it a caramel flavor. Oh, it's absolutely awesome. So as that melts down, you're gonna see it start to thicken up. Everything starts to really get well incorporated. And then when that melts, you're seeing it right now thicken up a little bit more. We're there. We've hit the magic spot. Now I like to serve it on a vanilla ice cream. You can drizzle it over cookies. You can drizzle it over biscotti and let it cool. Have it over while it's hot. Put some biscotti cookies over some vanilla ice cream and drizzle it over. I got all kinds of different ways. I've been studying this stuff for years. I'm a master. But in any case, this is about where we want it. So I always like to use it hot. So I think what we'll do is when we showcase this, I'll drizzle it over some vanilla ice cream and show you exactly what this tastes like. But look at that, isn't that fantastic? And I can just, you can really smell the chocolate and the coffee and that almost, like I said, it's almost like a caramel flavor, but not quite. It almost smells there. So I'm gonna finish this up and I'm gonna plate it with some vanilla ice cream and I'll show you the best way to eat it, guys. All right, guys, so here's the trick. What can I do with this great chocolate coffee syrup that we just made, right? What can I do with it? I'm gonna tell you exactly what to do with it. So that's technically, again, it's my Affogato. We've got some homemade gelato. Check out our recipe. It's homemade vanilla ice cream. So we'll call it gelato because we're doing an Italian video, right? And then what I do is I like to take it hot and I'm gonna drizzle it right over the top. Is that like unbelievable, right? So, and that's the Affogato. That's the drowning, if you will, okay, of the ice cream. And I'm gonna throw a little homemade whipped cream on there, right? And I'm gonna throw a couple of chocolate shavings on the top. Are you kidding me? Is that absolutely unbelievable? So let's check out our syrup. Oh wait, there's a little extra vanilla ice cream on it. What can I do with that? I know exactly what I'm gonna do with that. All right, are you ready to take a trip to Joe's kitchen? I'll tell you, when you get that coffee, the coffee in there with the chocolate, it is so perfect. I put that butter in the end just to give it a little extra caramel cream. And the caramel there, that syrup is starting to get hard, or like almost gooey. Oh my God, that's good. One more. I'll tell you, when the Italians came up with the word dolce, that's exactly what they had in mind. That is absolutely unbelievable. Guys, check out that recipe. I'll tell you, that syrup you can throw on cookies and cakes and ice cream and whatever else, or you can just try to taste it plain. It doesn't taste so bad that way either. Guys, thanks for letting me share this great recipe with you guys. Something right out of my kitchen. Cooking with Italian with Joe's. Forget about a kitchen. Spend some time with your family. Thanks for letting me share my traditions, my heritage with you. Until next week, buon appetito.
Good life, full of fun, seems to